Today, Polygon surges after a new partnership with Brazilian fintech firm Nubank. Binance closes in on the hacker who stole millions from the BNB blockchain. And Julian Holguin of Doodles reveals where he thinks the NFT biz is headed next. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Kate Rooney. Digital currencies held pretty steady over the weekend and are mixed to kick off the week. By noon Eastern, Bitcoin continued to trade above $19,000. Ether remained above the $1,300 mark, and Polygon's Matic token rose to 90 cents. That rally came after Warren Buffett-backed Nubank backed Polygon to host its blockchain and its new coin digital currency. All right, let's talk about the top stories. First, Binance is getting closer to figuring out the identity of the hacker who coordinated a multi-million-dollar hack on its BNB blockchain. That's according to the crypto exchange's CEO, Changpeng Zhao, who told CNBC International that Binance is narrowing down the person or persons behind the breach after getting some tips from law enforcement. Earlier this month, we told you about a nearly $570 million hack that hit the Binance coin. The company said that a cross-chain bridge linking with its BNB chain was targeted, allowing hackers to move the BNB tokens off the network. So-called cross-chain bridges are tools that allow the transfer of tokens from one blockchain to another. On Monday, Zhao told CNBC's Squawk Box Europe that the BNB chain was able to prevent about 80 to 90% of targeted funds from being taken by the hacker or hackers. He also discussed what he thinks is needed to prevent future breaches, which includes working with law enforcement.
The other part that's really important is to help developers develop safer code. Everything is software. Software could have bugs. So we're working with many security companies. We're investing in security companies to do audits on code, etc. The last part is really just education. So we need to educate users about the potential risks in this new field.
Next, speaking of hacks, FTX will provide about $6 million in compensation to victims of a phishing scam that allowed hackers to perform unauthorized trades. The crypto exchange's CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried, made the announcement on Twitter yesterday, writing that, quote, "This is not a precedent and that only those with FTX accounts will be reimbursed." He tweeted that this is a one-time thing and we will not do this going forward. He stressed that FTX will not make a habit of compensating users getting phished by fake versions of other companies. SBF, as he's also known, explained on Twitter that the recent phishing attack, which came to light on Friday, saw users gaining user account application programming interface, or API keys, which allowed them to conduct unauthorized trades with their accounts. Cointelegraph reported that FTX and 3 suspended suspicious accounts and disabled the compromised API keys after 3 was alerted that some of its users had unauthorized trading activity, and the matter was investigated. This is the latest breach in October, which Chainalysis dubbed the biggest month in the biggest year ever for hacking activity. Last up, crypto staking platform Freeway paused withdrawal services, which sent its token into a free fall. The company announced the freeze in a statement on Twitter and its website, citing volatility in crypto markets and Forex markets. The Freeway token plunged shortly after, down about 70% by noon Eastern. Freeway said on its website it won't comment any more on the situation beyond the statement it posted. All right, on to our main story. Last month, Doodles, the NFT company behind a series of hand-drawn pastel non-fungible tokens, raised $54 million thanks to a funding round led by Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian's VC firm 776. That funding round doubled Doodles' valuation at more than $700 million. Crypto World's Tanea McKeel caught up with Doodles CEO Julian Holguin to talk about the company's funding round and the future of NFTs, as well as a lot more.
You've just closed this big fundraise. Tell us about it. Tell us how you plan to use the funds.
It was, it's a good question because it's something that we actually talked about a lot internally on whether or not we wanted to raise money at all, and really kind of needing to have any responsibility to anybody other than what our vision was. And we were in a very fortunate position that the balance sheet was really healthy and we had a lot of capital to kind of get started and really build some momentum based on the early success that we had. But after a lot of those internal conversations, I think it really turned to this is a really nascent space. This is emerging technology. Like, we're building so many new things right now. We're in open water. Having really foundational partners was the thing that I think ultimately turned the tide for, like, hey, let's really do this. Let's really think about this. But it wasn't the kind of thing where we wanted 50 people on the cap table. We really wanted to lean in with a handful of really strong partners. So that's what we set out to do. We met Alexis, Caitlin, and the 776 team pretty early on in the process. And since then, we brought in them, 3 other investors, and we only have 4 investors on the cap table right now, and closed it in August. Yeah, it's been it was a long process, but a really rewarding one. We're very fortunate.
People in crypto have been talking about NFTs for a pretty long time, considering just how explosive NFTs as a sector became last year. How does Doodles set itself apart from all of that hype?
The space has really evolved in the last several months, right? Like, I think the market really changed, and I think the opportunity in this space changed a lot. Early on, and I'll get back to that in a second, but early on, what really set Doodles apart, I think, started with the founding team. They were very reputable in the space. They were not anonymous. They were, people knew who they were, and people really respected them long before Doodles even came to be. So that was a big leg up that Doodles had just on launch. And then the art, I think, is something that is truly, like, universally attractive. I think people all over the world, people of all ages, can really resonate with the art. It's positive. It makes them feel happy. It's incredibly inclusive. And I think those things coming together, like the experience of the founders, the art, the fact that it could truly scale, was what got the project a lot of hype early on. And then they created some, like, marketing tactics and business tactics that really, they were controversial at the time, but they kind of made the project stand out and created a lot more hype around the project, like closing their Discord early, things like creating a different license on their IP than other projects had done before them. The fact that the whole company really kind of started as a DAO, where the community was, the community could actually help power the roadmap. Like, all of these things that contributed to the early success of the project, set it up for the kind of success that it's at today. And I think in the last 4 or 5 months, you've started to see that only the projects that really took these things seriously as a long-term business opportunity are the ones that are kind of sustaining right now. A lot of the stuff that was really just a quick kind of cash grab opportunity, that stuff is not really enduring the way that the top projects are, and Doodles is, we feel very fortunate to be in that category.
What is your outlook right now? What do you think it's going to take to bring demand, bring more risk appetite back into the crypto market?
Sure. There's cycles in crypto, every several years, and we're not looking at this time as any different. I think the thing that is different is just the macroeconomic environment that's kind of playing into this. So I think the market's going to be a little bit beholden to that. But in the case of Doodles, like, we did just raise money. We are a very lean staff at the time, so we have an opportunity to kind of stay quiet and build and really scale with purpose and intention, versus needing to keep up with a bull run and leveraging all this money that's on the table. So we're really just trying to make sure we're building the business the right way, not scale too quickly where we have to hire a bunch of people and then let them go because the economic environment is, the negative economic environment is lasting longer than we had thought. I think this period is going to have a positive effect long term, in that it shook out a lot of the stuff that wasn't really that real. And all of the interest in collectibles is going to move into projects like Doodles and some of the other, businesses that are really building businesses and enterprises. So it's going to be certainly a little more pain, but I think we're feeling very confident about the long-term prospect of the space.
Final thing for me, and I want to end on regulation. It's something that gives people in crypto a lot of anxiety. I also think that we've gotten some signals this year that people in crypto have a lot to be happy about, but for let's say an NFT business, what are some of the challenges or considerations that you're up against and that you're looking forward to dealing with over the next year or so?
I think the way most people are thinking about this in the space is that we generally would like there to be regulation, because then there's a rule book, right? Like, you know what you're supposed to be doing, what you're not supposed to be doing. So I think that is ultimately welcomed long term. What we're hoping for is that the people that are making these decisions get them right and support innovation and don't, stop it. So I think that's a concern, but also a hope. So I feel like we've been very careful about the products that we've released. We've been very careful about the way we've positioned our products, just because we want to make sure that people understand that, this is a collectibles business, and we're trying to kind of reinvigorate what on-chain digital collectibles look like, and how a fan can take part in a brand from like the minute it launches all the way until we're as big as a company like Pokemon, if that ever happens one day. So for us, it's something that we're not necessarily riding out. We're paying very close attention about what we're hearing, and working with our partners to make sure that we're as buttoned up as we can be and doing things the right way.
All right, that's all for Crypto World today, but Tanea also got the chance to sit down with Alexis Ohanian and 776's founding partner, Caitlin Holloway. Be sure to check out tomorrow's show for that conversation. We'll see you then.